The following reading is from the book The Key to the Universe, or A Spiritual Interpretation of Numbers and Symbols by Harriet Curtis. This reading is from Chapter 4, The Circle as the Aura and the Ring Pass Not. The esoteric teaching is that after its involution into matter, that is, after man is reincarnated in the physical body, the evolution of each soul takes place along a spiral pathway within a series of concentric spheres of different densities, whose centers are all within the physical shell, that is our physical body, corresponding to the concentric globes forming the earth chain, the finer interpenetrating all the denser. Since the law followed by the cosmic is also followed by the individual manifestation, we refer the reader to what we have said elsewhere concerning those interpenetrating spheres, as it describes the corresponding makeup of man's aura. When the soul has manifested the most essential in characteristic possibilities of the smallest, inmost, and densest sphere of the aura, it breaks through that confining shell, following a spiral path, and is born into a larger sphere of consciousness, being, or orbit of evolution, whose forces will aid in perfecting and completing the possibilities of the former sphere. For instance, as long as man's consciousness responds only to the sense impressions from the physical world, he is confined within the sphere of matter and consciousness, which vibrates to the physical plane. But as soon as his sense organs are attuned to the vibrations of the next finer and larger sphere of substance and consciousness, which surrounds and interpenetrates the lesser, he is born into the astral world or sphere of his aura, called the Hall of Learning, and so on, into the still higher spheres. Only when man is able to vibrate in unison with all the spheres which surround him and has brought into expression the potencies of them all, has he completed his evolution of man as man. Physical man and the physical globe, like a seed or egg, therefore contains within him in germ all the forces, powers, and materials necessary for him to manifest his godlike possibilities. We also call this the seed of knowledge. But this physical seed of the real man stands in the center of 7 concentric spheres, which we already described, in each of which certain of his possibilities must manifest. And to evolve into and manifest in these various spheres, the shell of the physical limitations, like the shell of the egg or seed, must be opened through the growth of the germ already present within that shell. Undeveloped man responds chiefly to the variations of the physical globe, those things which he can see, hear, taste, smell, handle, and so forth, and cannot comprehend or function in the globes belonging to the psychic and spiritual planes. Man must ultimately function and gain experience in all 7 globes at the same time, checking up, balancing, and perfecting the experience of one by that gained on the other, thus rounding out his 7-fold nature into the real man. Only thus can he gain mastery over the portion of goods given to him by his Father in heaven, as it contains in capability all that his later evolution can unfold in any one cycle of manifestation, man's aura may be compared to a schoolboy's bag packed for a distant journey, for it contains all the goods given to him by his father, together with the provisions necessary for the journey itself. Now, here we're going to skip a paragraph explaining how and why the Atlantean race fell, and we're going to continue describing the ring pass not. As we have said elsewhere, in another sense, the circle is the individual ring pass not, the limit of the auric zone, which every true disciple should put around himself, and whose gates, corresponding to the centers of the body, he must open and close at will to admit or exclude that which he chooses. Thus, the ring is a boundary which separates each of the concentric spheres mentioned above from the next finer, but is a ring pass not to the substance and consciousness of the denser sphere only until the vibrations of the latter have been raised to harmonize or become one with the rate of the finer sphere, whereupon there is no barrier between the two. It is because of the ring pass not like a shell around every sphere that at every decisive step from one sphere of consciousness to the next higher, the student is met with the axiom, know thyself, for the knowledge of self must include a knowledge of how to raise the vibrations of the sphere in which the candidate is manifesting until they become one with those of the higher sphere which he desires to enter. Each student must live his life from within and unfold his possibilities through his own efforts and through the bringing into manifestation of the powers which each has in potentiality within. So, to synthesize in this reading, we discussed several things. First, we described the human aura, which consists of 7 concentric circles, each interpenetrating within each other. We did mention how to be born or to wake up in the astral world or the sphere of the aura called the hall of learning. And we also discussed what is this ring pass not. And this, perhaps for me, that's the most difficult part of this reading. And this ring pass not is a ring actually within around every concentric sphere within the human aura, from what I understand, that each of us has to work our way up through it. If you think any differently or have any ideas about this reading, please share this in the comments. As always, thank you for listening.